Amanda Nipp, Vice President of Student Services here at Northeast.
I'm Charlene Weidner, Vice President of Educational Services.
And we're here today to provide an overview of guided pathways. Talking a little bit about what is guided pathways, why are we doing guided pathways at Northeast, and where are we at in our guided pathways journey. So this is an opportunity for those of you new to Northeast. We're going to be able to bring you up to speed. And those of you who maybe are using this as an opportunity for a refresher, it's a great way to look at where have we been in this guided pathways journey and where are we heading a little bit as well. So I'm going to start off, Charlene, with talking a little bit about what is guided pathways. So guided pathways, it was kind of a response to an increasing need for student success, a focus on student success. Community colleges were built in the 1960s, 1970s, and they were developed as a cafeteria-style model of education. So it was very much, let's offer as much as we can to meet the community needs and have a whole plethora of offerings. Just like at a cafeteria, you go and you fill your plate with all kinds of things. That's not always great. And as the focus became on student success more, we realized a cafeteria style allows people to get probably too much extra. And so the focus has switched to a more guided pathways approach where we help students to find the right path to get to their end goal, to that career. And that has been a shift over time, and we're still in the process of making that shift. And that is the guided pathways approach. It's a student-centered approach to helping students get on a path and discover their path, and then stay on the path and ensure that they're learning. So there's 4 pillars. Charlene, you might have to help me here. Remember them all, right? There's 4 pillars. So the 4 pillars of guided pathway, that is, you clarify the path. So you really provide students options of paths that show how do they get to that end goal, to that career. And then we help them find the right path with that career guidance and learning, help them stay on the path. So if they maybe don't do so well in some classes or they take a class that's not on their pathway, we are watching and taking a look at their degree audits and making sure we course correct and get them on that right path. And then we're measuring if students are learning, what they're learning in their classrooms and their degrees, to make sure that learning is worthwhile and then it's going to be able to apply to a career and where they're heading. So something that we've learned here at Northeast is that guided pathways is not linear. It's not a project. There's no one way to do it, which has been a challenge for us because we want to have a check the box, we've done this. It's something that you are becoming versus doing. It's a process, and I think we've realized at Northeast we build our own journey. We build our own guided pathways journey and determine what's right for us as we are doing that redesign. So guided pathways is really an intentional college-wide approach to student success, and we're basing that on a more structured student experience. So we're trying to make sure that structured student experience leads to a credential or skill that's valued by the labor market. So that's the change from that cafeteria style to a more structured student approach to learning. So something that we have been doing as well since April of 2022, we joined the Rural Guided Pathways Project. So Northeast was selected along with 15 other rural community colleges to do the first project of its kind. And that is to work with rural colleges to develop guided pathways in a way that really works for us as a rural community college. And we're working with peers, and this is led by the National Center for Inquiry and Improvement, NCII. And so they are sponsoring this work, and we just concluded year 3 of that first project, and they've invited us back to do now a second round. They're adding additional rural colleges to it, and so we're about to enter into that second round. So we're getting support and guidance from NCII as we're working through this guided pathways journey here at Northeast. So we do have some expert guidance helping us along the way. So that's a really quick, what is guided pathways? Charlene, please add in anything I might have missed.
No, you did a great job.
And then
I appreciate it.
Tell us a little bit about why are we doing guided pathways here at Northeast?
So I think Amanda did a great job of setting up the why behind this, why we're moving forward with this type of project. So one of the things that when I went to college, you went to college, all of the processes were the same for every student who came in, and you were either successful in working through those processes, or sometimes you weren't successful, and good luck to you. A guided pathway model is a student-focused model. It is about Northeast navigating the student as opposed to the student coming in and navigating Northeast. And so I want to talk a little bit about why that's so important. And the first reason is because without something like guided pathways, even with guided pathways, there'll still be gaps, but certainly without guided pathways, there are gaps to student success. So I'm going to give you a couple examples, and I want to make sure I get these statistics correct. Between 10 and 40% of students who apply to a community college never show up on the first day of class. That's a lot of students. And I often get asked, why is that? There are lots of reasons why. There's confusion, there's frustration, there's so many processes, there's financial aid, and what classes do I take, and is that the best faculty member? There are so many obstacles, and just a lot of students don't make it past those obstacles and into the front door. Of the students who do make it in on that first day and continue on to get a bachelor's degree, 1 in 5 are still in college at year 6 without a degree. So that's another reason why this is so important. We want students to be successful if they do stay in college. And then the last reason is there are a lot of students who, even when they do go on and complete, if they complete, they have a lot of excess credit. They have paid for more classes than they need. I want to continue and talk a few more reasons why students sometimes find that gap with colleges, all colleges. Sometimes students will put off the general education courses, so instead they'll take program courses, and that's actually great. We want students to be in their programs and to love their programs, but occasionally students will find in year 2 or even year 3 at a bachelor's degree that that's not the program that they want to do for the rest of their life, and so they might have excess credits. And then what we see more common is students don't take general education courses up front, especially math and English. So they get to year 5 or year 6, and all they have left are math and English, which are sometimes the most difficult courses for students to complete. I also on here is the cafeteria model, that they have so many options. Occasionally it's hard to figure out how to limit those options. Transfer can also be an obstacle for students. There's confusion around that, and I'm excited by some of the work that we've done as far as onboarding and helping students with advising. And what it boils down to is that students sometimes get frustrated and they withdraw. And I want to use some numbers from Northeast. In fall of 2022, 386 Northeast students withdrew from all of their courses. Of those students, 237 were full-time students and 149 students were part-time. And then during the last 3 spring semesters, 190 students at Northeast have withdrawn from all of their classes. So we're seeing these student success barriers even here at Northeast. And I'm excited that here at Northeast we're doing something to help students be more successful. So I want to share with you what other colleges have discovered by adopting guided pathways. Other colleges who have adopted this model that we're currently working on have seen a 17 to 26% increase in college completion. That's amazing to me. They have also seen an increase of 10% or more. Some of them have seen even more, 10% or more increase in first-year math completion, and 12% increase or more in English completion in first year. And so those are huge metrics that will help those students not, as they get to year 6, they won't have those courses still out hanging over their head. So we're going to shift now, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Northeast Guided Pathways journey. And we've identified multiple goals that have really helped focus the work here at Northeast. And I'm going to talk about the first of those goals, which is program mapping with clear pathways for students. And we have several projects that we're working on. We actually call these projects common priorities. And the reason why we call them that is because they require the work of educational services, student services, often technology services, or other divisions across the institution. So the first common priority I want to talk about is evolving pathways. And back to Amanda's discussion of the pillars, evolving pathways is really about establishing pathways for students and then getting them on the right pathway. So at Northeast, we've developed 7 fields of study. So when students come in, instead of having 130 broad options to choose from, they now have the opportunity to select among 7 fields of study. The advantage of coming in a field of study is I could take a common first year in my field of study, and then let's say I want my major to become biology in year 2. I've already accomplished what I need for biology, many of the general eds in year 1. And so now I don't have excess credits to take. I don't have to worry about not being ready to transfer after my sophomore year of college. The Guided Pathways model, the 7 fields of study that we developed, also have math and English in year 1 so that we can help accomplish that goal of Guided Pathways. And one of the biggest advantages, in my opinion, for students is that it leads to completion without course redundancy. And that means less cost to our students. So that's very important. We also have a second common priority called Non-Credit and Workforce Initiative. And in this common priority, we're aligning our trainings, our workforce development opportunities, our non-credit opportunities. We're aligning them with our credit offerings to show where we see crossover. Our ultimate goal of doing this work is that a student could, for example, take a media arts non-credit course that is very similar to another credit course in media arts. And we could allow that student to use credit for prior learning as opposed to repeating that same course. Now, we have a lot of work still to do on that pathway, but I do think in the long term, this pathway or this common priority has great applicability for our non-traditional students in particular. Our third common priority that falls under this first goal, program mapping, is the early college access project. We are putting our first, what we're calling navigator, into high schools. We've hired the person. She started Monday. So we're excited about that. And that person will work in the high school, in addition to occasionally being on campus, and that their goal will be to help students determine their career paths, which pathway is the best for them, and to also ensure that they get those courses that fit that field of study pathway. Multiple measures placement is right now in its beta testing. We're testing or piloting that program. So traditionally, when a student comes to college, they will take a standardized test, the ACT, the SAT, the AccuPlacer, something like that. And that test will tell us what math course and English course that student goes into. Multiple measures placement is about looking at a holistic view of the student and placing them based on a number of things as opposed to a single test score. So for example, what was their high school GPA in English or math? What was the last math class taken and how long ago was that? So it allows students to not have to rely on a single score for math placement. And then the final of the common priorities that fall under this first goal is develop processes to eliminate program waitlists. We are in the early stages of this common priority, but the goal is really to develop some selective admissions processes to ensure that the students who get into programs that often have numbers much greater than we have seats for in the program, that we ensure the students who get into those programs are students who are most likely to be successful in those programs. So, good example, utility line. Every semester, we have students who enter utility line, which has huge wait list. And of those students, when they start climbing the utility poles, we realize that one or two are not comfortable with climbing the poles and they drop out of that program. But we've utilized a seat for those students that could have been filled by another student who could have completed. And so we're looking at trying to ensure that students are more successful. So Amanda, I'll turn it back over to you to talk about the other goals.
Awesome. Okay. So a second of our overarching goals, as Charlene kind of went through that first one, and there's a lot of common priorities under that first overarching goal. So the second is redesigning the onboarding experience for all students. And so our first common priority under that was focusing on redesigning the student experience with Recruit and Advise software implementation. And so those are what you would consider a customer relationship management system, a CRM, and we use that as a technology tool to help onboard our students through Recruit, and then bring them into college and work with them as they're working through their academic work through Advise. So it's technology tools to help us better bring students in, work with them, keep track of their needs, and move them through, keeping them kind of on the path, helping them stay on that path to completion. And with Recruit, a huge benefit to us all is a new application for admission, which just went live very end of October. So we're excited to have launched that new application for admission that actually onboards students, brings them into the college by allowing them to select their field of study, as Charlene was talking about. So it aligns very closely with that very first goal. So Advise, there is work being done in Advise that allows faculty to submit early alerts on students, and then our first year advisors to work through those early alerts, which again helps keep a student on their path and working towards that path to completion. By changing to this Advise software, our faculty can utilize this software as well and see notes that are on students. And we're working now to pilot it with faculty, where we will be here very soon. So right now it's the first year advisors who are building processes around and getting in and learning that software and how it can really support students. So a second common priority under this second goal of of improving and redesigning the onboarding experience was looking at our non-degree seeking students and really examining those non-degree seeking students. So right now, well, maybe I shouldn't say right now because we're running a pilot, but until right now, so before this common priority, our non-degree seeking students did not have an advisor. So there was no advisor assigned to them. We sent them, I think it was an email or a letter that said, welcome to Northeast. Here's how you can go ahead and register for classes. You're non-degree seeking, so you don't have to meet with anyone. Just go ahead and register. Well, as we examined our non-degree seeking students, we realized we had students with over 30 credit hours who were still non-degree seeking. And so we realized we need to get in touch with these students. We need to have a touch point with them. Part of Guided Pathways is redesigning the student experience for all students, trying to increase or provide a common experience for all students. So not any type of student is being left out and not getting that journey of here's your onboarding, here's your path, and that common consistent way of getting them through our system. So what we decided to do after digging into who our non-degree seeking students were, there's now a pilot running where we have a first year advisor who is working with our college enrollment specialists, and they're working together to connect with every non-degree seeking student to try to find out what is your end goal, and asking some of those questions and trying to determine is there additional advising needs that we can provide for them. And then we have a third goal. Yes, third goal of
Yes.
guided pathways. Got to get my common priorities and my goals right. So
Yes.
the third goal of guided pathways is incorporating career exploration and awareness into the student life cycle. And we have already done some work, although we haven't identified a specific common priority around this. There's been work done. We have added a position in our career services department that we realized we needed as we had students coming to us saying, I'm not sure, I'm undecided, I'm not sure what program I want. We really didn't have anyone at Northeast who could work with those students, who specialized in helping undecided students. So we added an individual to the career services department who can work with applicants, so students who are in high school or non-traditional students who have just decided I'm going to go to college, to talk to them about what programs we offer, what are their skills and interests and abilities, and how might that align to one of our fields of study. So that individual is doing a lot of work that we weren't able to do before. We have an assessment, my majors assessment, that helps students learn more about their skills, interests, abilities. And then Lisa Bells, who has taken on this additional career position at Northeast, will meet with them and help steer them in the right direction for getting into one of the fields of study. So that is the work that we have done so far on that career exploration and awareness. So I think that wraps up all of our common priorities and our goals, our overarching goals. So really summarize where we've a little bit of where we've been and where we're at right now, where we're heading in guided pathways.
I have nothing more to add. You did a great job wrapping that up.
All right. Okay.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.